Charlie explains to Leon and Ruoli that Zhiyu won't attack Chengfeng at the press conference because revenge is meaningless. She'll negotiate benefits instead. He plans for Zhiyu to become Su family head, ending the Wade-Su feud, with Ruoli and the He family supporting her. Ruoli emotionally vows to stay by Charlie's side forever. Charlie buys a villa for the He family and assigns them to train Isaac's and Orville's men in martial arts, while they teach modern weapons, building a stronger combined force. Enjoy the story, thank you.
Chapter 2846. Leon asked in surprise, "Master, why are you so sure?" Charlie smiled and said, "If you have to explain the reason, it will be a long story, but you just believe me." Leon hurriedly said, "Okay young master, then I will deal with it." "Okay." Charlie asked with a smile, "Steward Leon, is there anything else?" Leon said, "The rest is nothing." Charlie said in a convenient way, "That's good, then do this first, and then contact me if you have anything." After hanging up the phone, Ruoli, who was next to Charlie, hurriedly asked, "Master, Sister Zhiyu is going to hold a press conference." "Yes," Charlie said with a smile. "Not only will a press conference be held, but also a live broadcast will be conducted on the entire network. By then, there will be at least tens of millions of people watching the live broadcast simultaneously on so many platforms." Ruoli asked incomprehensibly, "Then why do you think she will not attack Chengfeng? This is a good opportunity to ruin him." Charlie smiled slightly, "It seems that your sister is a little smarter than you." Ruoli put out her tongue in embarrassment, and said with a sigh, "How can I be compared to Sister Zhiyu, who has received elite education since she was a child? And she is also a high-achieving student who graduated from a top university. In contrast, except after 9 years of compulsory education, I have never attended high school." Charlie shook his head and smiled. "This doesn't have much to do with how many studies she has attended, mainly because Zhiyu clearly knows what she wants." Ruoli asked curiously, "Master, can you tell me more specifically?" Charlie explained, "Everyone thinks that your sister's press conference is an excellent opportunity to challenge Chengfeng, and everyone thinks that as long as your sister seizes this opportunity, Chengfeng will be ruined and never turned back. But if you think about it, what does this mean to her?" Ruoli was even more puzzled, looking at Charlie blankly, and said seriously, "At least she can get revenge. Attacking the enemy is not just revenge for herself." Charlie looked at her, shook his head, and said, "When Zhiyu does this, it is just a bit of hatred for Chengfeng. It won't have any other effects, and it doesn't even make him lose a dime. It's meaningless." Charlie said again, "This is different from when I first exposed Chengfeng's conspiracy. Before I exposed him, Chengfeng's personality was very top-notch. It can be said that countless people worship and admired him. Made him fall to the altar, and also caused the Su family to suffer a great blow. Including the suspension of ocean shipping business, it is also the punishment given to him by the above. However, Chengfeng has already been thrown this time. Even if Zhiyu stood up and scolded him today, she would just pour cold water on the fallen Chengfeng. It is impossible for him to fall again. Rather than pour a pot of dispensable cold water, it is better to take this opportunity to ask him for some benefits." Ruoli exclaimed, "Young master, you say that my sister wants to make peace with him." Charlie waved his hand and said, "On the surface, it is a peace talk, but in reality, it is cutting Chengfeng's meat with a blunt knife." After that, Charlie said again, "This time Chengfeng must be severely cut by Zhiyu." After this cut, the two of them seemed to have reached some kind of reconciliation condition, but in fact, the relationship between them. The old man and grandchildren's love points are completely exhausted, and after the talks, they are the real enemies. Ruoli couldn't help asking, "In this case, Sister Zhiyu will be in danger in the future, right?" Charlie shook his head and smiled. "No, Chengfeng provokes no one, dare not provoke her. Don't forget, there is me behind Zhiyu. Chengfeng is absolutely absolute before he finds me out. He dare not start with Zhiyu." After speaking, Charlie said again, "Your sister is really going to work hard for the position of Su Family Patriarch this time. This is a good thing. If she really becomes Su Family Patriarch in the future, Su family and Wade family have been in the past decades. We can draw a full stop for the kindness and grievances. Moreover, your future, even your mother and the future of the whole He family, will have a better home. At that time, you can change your identity and assist her as sister's side. If she has the support of you and the He family, her future will be limitless. Charlie's hatred of the Su family was only on those people who were related to the Anti-Wade League back then. Now, Xin, the apparent leader of the Anti-Wade Alliance, has been thrown into Syria by himself, and Shoud, the apparent number 2 figure, has also entered the Orville's kennel. So at the moment, Chengfeng is the only enemy from the Su family. According to the agreement between Charlie and Zhiyu, she ascends to the top of the Su Family Patriarch and could take the initiative to surrender Chengfeng in exchange for her father to return to China. If she can do this at that time, she will get Xin back, but she still has to make sure that he stays away from all the real power of the Su family, forcing him to retire. In that way, whether the Wade family or himself, they can let go of all their old hatreds with the Su family, and never offend the river. Therefore, Charlie naturally hoped that Zhiyu would get better and better by then. And Ruoli was also Ziyu's half-sister. When the two sisters met last time, Charlie looked at her closely. He can be sure that in Ziyu's heart, there really is this sister Ruoli. And Ruoli also has her sister. More importantly, Ruoli now has no cruelty and hostility at the beginning. In the future, she will definitely be able to follow Zhiyu with all her heart and escort her. He originally thought that his arrangement is very reasonable, and he also considered the two sisters very much. But he never expected that Ruoli's eyes would suddenly turn red when she heard what he said. She looked at him and choked. "Master. Ruoli's life was saved by you. My cultivation was also broken through with your help. You are Ruoli's greatest benefactor in this life. In the future, if I just want to stay with you before and after serving you with all my heart, and don't want to return to Su's house." Charlie explained. "I'm not asking you to go back to the Su family, but you will go back after your sister becomes the head of the Su family." Ruoli choked up in anger and said, "Then I won't return. Although my sister and I have half the same blood relationship, in the final analysis, I don't owe her anything, and I don't want to stay with her in the future." Having said this, she subconsciously grabbed Charlie's hand and cried and said, "Master, please don't rush away in the future, okay?" Charlie said helplessly, "You are only more sensitive to your identity and cannot return to normal life immediately, so I will keep you by my side, but in the future, this matter will eventually pass, and the hatred of the Japanese will also recede by the time. It gradually fades and is even forgotten. At that time, you can have your own life again. Why do you need to spend it by my side?" Ruoli said firmly, "I don't want my own life. I just want to stay with you before and after the horse." As she said, she wiped away her tears, and said a little angrily, "Master, if you don't want me to follow you someday, if you don't want to be stalked, I will find a nun's haircut when the time comes. For nuns, eat fast and recite Buddha for the rest of life. Don't think that me if it frightens you. I can swear to the sky with my own life. If there is any violation, the sky will thunder and kill me." Charlie was completely speechless, and he asked after a long time, What are you doing? You are only in your early 20s this year, and you will have a lot of good times in the future. And with your current cultivation base, even if you start from now on, there will be an improvement in your cultivation base, and you can easily live 100 years old, which means that your life has only passed 1/5, or even 1/6. I don't care. Ruoli said firmly, "If I hadn't met you, my life would have passed 100%, and there would be no Ruoli sitting here safe and sound. So, no matter how long I have left, it will is given to me by Master, so I am willing to spend this time for you only." When Charlie heard Ruoli's words, deep in his heart, he was moved and helpless. He originally wanted to continue to persuade this stubborn girl, but the look in this girl's eyes seemed to be something he could not persuade at all. So he gave up this idea. Just like what he said earlier, there is still a long time in the future, and there is absolutely no need to pursue Ruoli to be able to achieve it in one step now. There will be a lot of time in the future, and the days to come will be long, and even if her mind is as solid as a rock, it will definitely change over time. Thinking of this, he simply turned off the topic and said, "By the way, Ruoli, I have asked Mr. Isik to urgently buy a riverside villa. The villa is a second-hand detached house with 8 rooms. In the basement, when your grandpa and the others come, they will live there, and they can practice quietly without being affected by the outside world." Ruoli hurriedly said, Master, you don't have to spend so much money. The He family used to serve the Su family. They lived in the Su family. They were divided by gender and lived in the upper and lower bunks like the school dormitory. A villa is too expensive. Charlie smiled and said, I bought the villa and loaned it to your grandpa. You must not have any psychological pressure, and I bought the house as an investment, mainly for the appreciation of the value. Ruoli said again, however, after grandpa and the others come, they must be waiting for you 24 hours a day, and they will even be around you on call 24 hours a day. You arrange for them to live in the villa. In case you have something to do, they must not be able to arrive in time. Charlie smiled slightly. These are all trivial things. In fact, I am used to being alone. Generally, I don't keep people around. Even Orville and Isaac are not by my side 24 hours a day. They usually do. They have their own affairs, they have their own lives, and they won't revolve around me 24 hours a day. The same goes for your grandpa and others with him. Ruoli asked hurriedly, Master, if you don't let grandpa and the others follow you, what are their main tasks after they come? Charlie said, I've already thought about this. When the time comes, these practitioners of your He family can be divided into several people to help Orville and Isaac. Even though there are many younger brothers with Orville, they are all unfamiliar with the techniques. It's okay to fight hard with others on the street. If they really meet a master, all of them will be given for nothing. So at that time, your family, on the one hand, will help Orville do some things beyond his ability, and on the other hand, will also help him train his little brothers a little. As for Isaac, although all the people under his hand are well trained, they are still a bit worse than you martial people, so you have to help them improve their overall strength. Ruoli hurriedly said, these must be fine. Grandpa and they must be able to do very well. With that said, she looked at Charlie a little embarrassedly, and asked faintly, Master, I don't know. I don't know what your arrangement is for me. Charlie smiled and said, you are now in a special situation, so just continue to stay in Shangri-La, and try not to have any contact with anyone except me and your mother. Ruoli has no opinion on Charlie's arrangement. She is most afraid that he would also send her to Isaac, Orville, or her sister. Since he is willing to continue to keep her in Shangri-La, of course she is also willing to accept it. Anyway, as long as she doesn't get driven by him to other places and sees him often, she will be satisfied. Charlie said to her, by the way, I have never allowed you to contact the outside world, or even let you have access to outside information. On the one hand, I am still a little wary of you. On the other hand, it's really because your identity is too special. If the news is revealed, it is easy to cause trouble for you. After speaking, Charlie paused, and then said, but now it seems that you are no longer as irritable as when the accident happened, and you have also met your mother. I believe your current state of mind must be relatively stable. A lot. Ruoli hurriedly said, Master, I'm really different now from before. Great changes have taken place in all aspects, and they are all changes in the right direction. Charlie nodded and said with satisfaction, I believe these, because I can see it myself. As he said, he took out a new mobile phone and handed it to her. I asked Mr. Isaac to buy this mobile phone before. It was originally intended to be taken with your sister when she left, but Mr. Isaac paid it back. I kept her mobile phone from before the accident, so I gave her her own mobile phone. I think I will just keep this mobile phone for you. Ruoli hasn't used a mobile phone for a long time, and hasn't even learned about outside consultations through the internet for a long time, so when she saw this mobile phone, she seemed very excited. Young people who are accustomed to smartphones and the internet, let alone leave their phones for a day, as long as they are awake and can't use their phones for more than 2 or 3 hours, they will become anxious. Naturally, Ruoli is no exception to this point. She is almost under house arrest in Shangri-La, and there is no channel for receiving information, so deep down in her heart, she has longed for a mobile phone. But for this kind of thing, she was naturally embarrassed to talk to Charlie, so she could only endure that kind of desire. Seeing him actually took the initiative to give her a new mobile phone, she didn't know how happy she was. Charlie looked amazed when he saw her picking up the phone, and said with a smile, it has already been activated, and there is a phone card in it. The phone bill can be overdrawn indefinitely. You can use it to talk to me or your mom, contact Mr. Isaac, other people, but still try not to. In addition, with this mobile phone, you can always know what is happening outside. If it is really boring, you can also use it to scan the news, watch a drama, etc. It will not be so boring. Ruoli read eyes and said, Master, thank you so much. During this period of time, I have been using my mobile phone even when I was dreaming, and I have already scratched my heart and liver. Charlie nodded, and said, before I had some distrust of you, so I didn't dare to let you directly have a way to communicate with the outside world. You also need to understand this. She nodded quickly and said, don't worry, Master, I understand this very well. That's good. Charlie smiled slightly and said, there is another good news to tell you. Ruoli asked hurriedly, what good news? Charlie explained, according to your mother, this time there are 11 people from your He family, including her. Among these 11, your mother is the only woman. For reasons of convenience, instead of arranging her to live in that riverside villa, let her live in Shangri-La. After speaking, Charlie said again, to be more specific, arrange for her to live in the same room with you. Really? Ruoli was extremely excited when she heard this. She originally thought that it would not be so convenient for her mother to meet her with Grandpa. After all, every time she came to see her, she would definitely be exposed. She was not afraid of anything. She was afraid that if her identity was exposed, she would give Charlie trouble. Now, Charlie plans to arrange for her mother to her room directly, which is a great surprise for her. He smiled slightly, of course I won't lie to you. They should be here in the evening. I will make arrangements at that time, so you can wait with peace of mind. Ruoli was very excited, and respectfully said, thank you, Master. Charlie waved his hand, you don't need to thank me for such a small matter. With that, he looked at the time and said, okay, I won't stay any longer, I will explain to Isik and Orville so that they can also be prepared. After that, Charlie stood up and said, I'm leaving. Master. Ruoli hurriedly stopped him, and asked embarrassingly, can you wait a moment, I will register a new WeChat first, and then add you as a friend. Charlie nodded, and agreed, okay. She hurriedly turned on the phone, downloaded WeChat app from the App Store, and quickly registered an account. She gave her new WeChat a name, and then blushed and said to Charlie, Master Wade, let me sweep your. Charlie opened his QR code and handed it to Ruoli. She scanned it with her mobile phone, and Charlie received a request to add a friend. He clicked on this request and found that the account that requested to add him as a friend turned out to be nicknamed, Don't Go Anywhere. He didn't understand at first why Ruoli had such a name. But when he thought that she had just said unswervingly that she wanted to stay by his side and told him not to drive her away, Charlie understood her intention of naming her, Don't Go Anywhere. If you want to come, she should be saying, she wants to stay by my side, she won't go anywhere, right? Charlie was moved in his heart, but didn't ask too much about this question. He directly approved the friend's request to add, and then said to her, then I will leave now. Ruoli nodded and said hurriedly, I will take you to the door. Ruoli sent Charlie to the door, and he left. After talking with her this time, he suddenly felt Ruoli's firmness and softness. These two completely different feelings were able to appear on the same person so naturally and harmoniously, which really surprised him. Moreover, from the bottom of his heart, he also recognized Ruoli a little bit more. There are some dedicated followers around him, but Ruoli is the strongest among these people. Although she was still far away from him, Charlie still had a sense of intimacy towards her that no one else had. In a sense, Charlie felt that Ruoli and himself were actually the same kind of people. Both of them are aliens among ordinary people, and both are running in a different direction from the others. The only difference is that Charlie ran farther than Ruoli. Out from Ruoli's room, he went directly to Isaac's office. Seeing him coming in, Isaac hurriedly asked, Master, have you finished talking with Miss Su? It's over. Charlie nodded and said, Mr. Isaac, call Orville and ask him to come over as soon as possible. I have something to tell you both. Hearing that Charlie has important things to do with him, Orville immediately put down his work and came to Shangri-La as quickly as possible. In Isaac's office, Orville entered the door and saw Charlie, so he hurried forward and asked respectfully, Master, what can I do this time? Charlie waved at him and said with a smile, Come here, sit down. After speaking, he greeted Isaac again, Mr. Isaac. Isaac and Orville sat next to Charlie opposite. Immediately, Charlie said, I have reached a cooperation with the He family. Starting today, the He family will send 10 top masters to Oris Hill, ready to be at my disposal. Isik said happily, Master, this is a good thing. With the He family masters, it can be regarded as a supplement to Orville and me. Although we have a lot of manpower available under our hands, their strength is indeed better than martial arts. People are much inferior. Sometimes, not only will they not be able to help you, but they will even drag you back. At this time, what Isik thought of was that time with Charlie, going to the Forbidden Mountain Tunnel to rescue Zhiyu and her mother Leona. That time, in order to grab time, Charlie jumped down when the helicopter was more than a dozen meters away from the tunnel entrance, but how could his men have this ability? Even if the emergency rope drop was implemented immediately, because the overall process of rope throwing, inspection, hooking, and the decline was indispensable, it was nearly a minute slower than Charlie. By the time they chased in, Charlie had already dealt with the crisis. Solved it single-handedly. In addition, there was also the time when he went to Syria to rescue Melba 2 days ago. Charlie parachuted in a way that exceeded the limit of ordinary people, and was able to sneak into Hamid's heavily guarded base quietly. In that time, he himself or none of his staff could walk with Charlie and provide direct assistance to him. The reason why such things can't keep up with the rhythm happen repeatedly is that the difference in strength is too big. And Orville couldn't help sighing at this moment. Master, before me, Mr. Isik, and Liang accompanied you to the Chengbai mountain to attack the 8 heavenly kings. I realize that there is a real gap between our group of people and your strength. It's too big. It's a critical moment. Let's not say to help you. If we don't hinder you, it's a high incense. There is indeed some mud that can't support the wall. If you take his family and let them stay by your side, we will be able to do well. To improve this embarrassing situation, Charlie waved his hand and said with a smile, I am talking about cooperation with the He family, and it is not really necessary for the He family to help me. Charlie said, and continued, actually, my plan is to distribute the 10 people of the He family to the 2 of you, so that they can make up for your shortcomings and at the same time can help you cultivate a group of subordinates and improve their overall strength. As soon as Isik heard this, he became excited and blurted out. Master, if this is the case, that would be great. Although my staff has undergone the same high-intensity military training as special forces, they still can't make a breakthrough. The upper limit of ordinary people, their own strength is indeed still a lot worse than those of martial arts masters. Charlie nodded, and said, the melee strength of martial artists, especially the strength of physical combat, is indeed far superior to special forces. However, once the special forces are blessed with thermal weapons, their overall strength will far exceed those of martial arts, so this time, I plan to integrate the 2 together so that the He family can use martial arts to help you and Orville's subordinates to improve their own abilities and melee strength. Then match them with hot weapons. In this way, the overall strength will be even greater and balanced. Charlie said, in addition, Mr. Isik, your subordinates who have undergone special forces training should, in turn, help the He family familiarize themselves with thermal weapons and other advanced technologies. This is their shortcoming. Without improvement, the overall combat effectiveness will still be greatly limited. Immediately afterward, Charlie sighed, when I went to Japan before, I also fought against ninjas. Some ninjas are similar to Chinese warriors. They are still in the era of physical combat and cold weapon attacks. However, there are also a group of ninjas that can keep up with the times and incorporate a lot of modern technology. One thing that impressed me is that their paragliders made of ultra-black paint and a propulsion fan with a silent lithium battery fly fast in the sky at night. Not only are they fast, but ordinary people on the ground also can't detect it. This is the organic combination of traditional ninjas and modern technology. I think this is an idea worth learning from. Isik nodded immediately and said excitedly, Master, I understand what you mean, that is, both parties must work together to fill each other's shortcomings. Yes, Charlie said seriously, you must choose your most trusted subordinates and let them practice martial arts with the He family. I will regularly give them some blood relief pills to help them quickly improve their strength. The blood relief pill is not worth mentioning to Charlie, but for ordinary people and martial arts practitioners, the improvement effect is very obvious. Charlie planned to select 40 to 50 people with potential and trust from Isaac and Orville's men, and let them practice martial arts, and then use some blood-saving heart-saving pills for them to improve physical fitness and strength.